The ache of 3 months chasing stories in South America paled against the heartbreak that struck when I saw Michael's email meant for my sister Emily, their kiss captured at Bean and Brew, and from my office window high above Chicago's Loop, I watched them embrace in his SUV, smiling as if our 5 years of marriage were already dust. The email hit my inbox like a punch to the gut. I was sitting in the sleek, open-plan office of Rivers Marketing, our company, perched on the 15th floor of a glass tower in Chicago's bustling Loop. The hum of the city below, honking cabs, the L train rattling by, felt like white noise compared to the chaos erupting inside me. My name's Sarah Thompson, a 35-year-old freelance journalist, just back from 3 months in South America chasing a political scandal. I'd been pouring my heart into a story, but nothing could have prepared me for the one unfolding on my screen. It was a Tuesday morning, and I was catching up on work emails at the shared desktop in our office. The space was all modern chic, exposed brick, Edison bulbs, a coffee machine that cost more than my first car. Michael, my husband of 5 years, was supposed to be meeting a client across town. At least, that's what he'd texted me at 7 a.m., his usual love you, babe tacked on like an afterthought. I believed him. Why wouldn't I? He was my partner, in life and in this company we'd built from late-night brainstorming sessions over pizza and cheap wine. Rivers Marketing was our baby, worth $2 million now, a testament to our hustle. Then the email popped up. From Michael. Subject, can't wait. My cursor hovered, expecting some mundane update about a client pitch. Instead, I opened a dagger. The message was short, brutal. Babe, last night at Bean and Brew was perfect. Can't stop thinking about you in that dress. Portland's waiting for us, our new life. Love you. Attached was a photo of him kissing a woman, her auburn hair spilling over his shoulder. My heart stopped. I knew that hair. I'd grown up braiding it. Emily, my 32-year-old sister, the one who'd texted me just hours ago to check in after my trip. My hand shook as I clicked the photo, zooming in. There they were, Michael and Emily, lips locked in the cozy glow of Bean and Brew, a trendy cafe in the Loop where I'd met clients 100 times. The timestamp was last night, when I was jet-lagged, crashed on our couch at home. I leaned back in the chair, the leather creaking under me, and felt my stomach lurch. This wasn't a mistake. He'd sent it to me by accident, meaning it was meant for her. My sister. My best friend since we were kids fighting over Barbies in our Evanston backyard. I stumbled to the floor-to-ceiling window, my breath fogging the glass. Down in the parking lot below, Michael's black SUV gleamed under the morning sun. And there they were. Him and Emily, tangled in an embrace inside the car. Her hand cupped his face, his fingers traced her arm, a gesture he used to calm me when I'd panic about deadlines. They laughed, oblivious, as if I didn't exist. My vision blurred, not from tears but from rage, sharp and cold, slicing through the fog of shock. Sarah? You okay? The voice startled me. It was Lillian Brooks, the 50-something office manager who kept our chaos in check. She stood in the doorway, her graying bob neat as always, holding a stack of contracts. I forced a smile, my face tight. Yeah, just jet lag. Need some air. My voice sounded foreign, like it belonged to someone else. Lillian frowned but nodded. Don't push yourself. You just got back. Want me to grab you a latte from downstairs? No, thanks, I said, too quickly. I'm good. I wasn't. I was a house of cards collapsing in slow motion. She left, and I sank into the chair, staring at the email again. My mind raced, replaying every moment I'd trusted them. Michael's late nights at the office. Emily's sudden visits to Chicago, claiming she missed me. The necklace he gave me before my trip, engraved with our initials, now felt like a mockery, burning against my skin. I yanked it off, tossing it onto the desk. It clattered against a photo frame, us at our wedding, grinning like fools. 5 years ago, Emily was my maid of honor, toasting to our forever. Forever lasted until now. I wanted to scream, to call them, to demand answers. But something sharper took over, a clarity born from years of digging for truth as a journalist. If they thought I was clueless, I'd use that. I opened my phone, hands trembling, and took a screenshot of the email. Then I zoomed in on the parking lot through the window, snapping photos of them in the car. Evidence. I needed it. My heart pounded, but my mind was already working, calculating. Hey, Sarah, you still here? Michael's voice jolted me. He stood in the doorway, casual in his navy blazer, his green eyes crinkling with that smile I used to love. Emily hovered behind him, her designer purse slung over one shoulder, her auburn hair catching the light. I swallowed the bile in my throat. Yeah, just catching up on emails. My voice was steady, a lie I'd perfected over years of interviewing cagey sources. Missed you, he said, crossing the room to kiss my forehead. His lips were cold, like a stranger's. Emily smiled, too bright, too fake. You look tired, sis. Rough trip? Something like that, I said, my eyes locked on hers. Did she flinch? Or was I imagining it? How's your visit going? Oh, just keeping Michael company while you were gone, she said, her laugh too musical, too practiced. Chicago's been fun. Fun. The word twisted in my chest. I nodded, forcing a smile. Glad you're enjoying it. They left for lunch, promising to bring me back a sandwich. As the door clicked shut, I leaned against the window, watching their SUV pull out. The city buzzed below, people rushing to meetings, grabbing coffee, living their normal lives. But mine? Mine was unraveling. Trust is a fragile thing, once broken, it's like trying to glue shattered glass. I'd loved them both, Michael, my rock, Emily, my confidant. Now they were strangers, and I was alone with a truth that burned. I thought of my mom's old saying, family is the anchor in a storm. But what happens when the anchor cuts the rope? I didn't have answers, but I had questions, and a growing fire inside me. They'd underestimated me. That was their first mistake. If this story's hitting you, drop a comment and let me know where you're tuning in from. Your thoughts keep this journey alive. My heart was a furnace, burning hotter with every lie I uncovered. 2 days after Michael's email ripped my world apart, I sat alone in our Rivers marketing office, the Chicago skyline a blurry backdrop through the window. I'm Sarah Thompson, a 35-year-old journalist who's chased truths across continents, but nothing cut deeper than the betrayal of my husband, Michael, and my sister, Emily. Their kiss at Bean and Brew, their laughter in his SUV, haunted me. I wasn't just broken, I was furious, and that fury was my fuel. I dove into their secrets like I would a front-page story. My hands trembled, but my reporter's instincts were razor-sharp. I'd spent years tracking corrupt officials, now, I'd hunt closer to home. I saved the damning email screenshot to a private cloud folder labeled Truth. Then I grabbed my Nikon from the desk, the one that caught a cartel boss in Peru, and aimed it at the parking lot below. They weren't there, but I'd be ready. One photo wasn't enough to bury them. By Wednesday, I'd installed a keystroke logger on the company laptop, my stomach twisting at the thought of spying on my husband. But his words, Portland's waiting, echoed, drowning out guilt. That night, I hid a recorder under our Lincoln Park condo's couch, where Michael often worked late. I told him I was at a book club, a lie that came too easily. The first recording hit me like a freight train. I sat in my car, earbuds in, as Emily's voice sneered, she's always been Miss Perfect, hasn't she? That's why I fed her source bad info last year. Her story crashed, and she didn't suspect a thing. Michael laughed. You're brilliant, Em. Wish we'd done this sooner. I gripped the steering wheel, my nails digging into my palms. That story, my shot at a national outlet, had crumbled because of Emily. My sister, who'd hugged me at our parents' Evanston patio last Christmas, whispering she was proud of me. Now she was sabotaging my career, laughing with my husband. Then came the kicker. Michael's voice, low and cold, if we could get her to take a break, maybe fake some stress illness, we'd have time to move the money. Emily giggled. A little burnout? Easy to arrange. My breath stopped. They'd planned to gaslight me, to push me out of my own company. I rewound, listened again. They'd been at it for over a year, starting when I was buried in a New York project. I wasn't just betrayed, I was their mark. I flashed back to a summer barbecue, Emily braiding my hair as we planned Mom's 60th birthday. That girl was gone. This Emily wanted my life. I met David Miller, my lawyer friend, at a Wicker Park diner, its neon sign buzzing over greasy fries. Sarah, you're a ghost, he said, sliding into the booth, his suit rumpled from court. Feel like one, I muttered, nursing a flat soda. Michael's stealing from the company. I need to protect Rivers. It's worth $2 million. David raised an eyebrow. Evidence? I showed him the email, the parking lot photos. There's more, I said, voice hard. I'm digging. He nodded. We'll audit the accounts. If he's moving money, we'll nail him. Back home, I scoured the laptop's logs. My heart sank at Michael's emails to Emily, transfer $200,000 to the Portland account. Our agency will outshine Rivers. They were plotting to gut our company, my life's work, to fund their new life. Then I found something worse. Emily had logged into my LinkedIn, messaging a key client as me, taking credit for a campaign I'd pitched. My vision blurred with rage. She wasn't just stealing my husband, she was stealing my name. At 2 a.m., my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Sarah? I worked with Emily at Chalkboard Design, a woman whispered. She bragged about taking your husband, said it was payback for always being second to you. Oh, and she tanked your deal with Morrison Hotels last year. Thought you'd want to know. The call ended. I sat in the dark, my pulse hammering. That deal's loss had crushed me, I'd blamed myself. Now I knew Emily's envy ran deeper than I'd ever imagined. I met Jessica Bennett, a marketing director for a major client, at a Loop coffee shop. Sarah, you're the reason we stay with Rivers, she said, sipping her cappuccino. Whatever you need, I'm in. Appreciate that, Jess, I said, forcing a smile. Big changes are coming. I didn't spill yet, but her loyalty was my anchor. I called William Carter, Michael's brother, a private investigator who'd helped me vet sources before. Will, can you trace a bank account? I asked, voice low. It's for Rivers. On it, Sarah, he said, no hesitation. His trust kept me grounded. That night, Michael came home, his cologne masking a faint trace of Emily's perfume. Long day? I asked, chopping carrots for dinner, my voice calm as ice. Client mess, he lied, pecking my cheek. You're a saint for dealing with me. Sure, I said, my smile a mask. Every lie stoked my resolve. I wasn't just collecting evidence, I was forging a weapon. Betrayal doesn't just break you, it rebuilds you, harder, sharper. I'd given them my heart, my trust, my dreams. Now I'd take it all back. I stood in the kitchen, the recorder still humming under the couch, capturing their secrets. Sometimes, the truth you seek isn't freedom, it's a mirror, showing you who you're fighting for. I was fighting for me. If this story's gripping you, share your thoughts below. What's the sharpest truth you've ever faced? My pulse thundered like a Chicago storm, each beat a reminder of the lies I'd uncovered. 2 weeks of piecing together Michael and Emily's betrayal had led to this night, and I was ready to shatter their world. I'm Sarah Thompson, a journalist who stared down liars, but nothing prepared me for facing my husband and sister in our Lincoln Park condo. The evidence, emails, recordings, that hotel video, was my weapon, loaded and aimed. I'd invited family and friends for a welcome home dinner, but this was my stage, and the curtain was about to rise. The dining room glowed with soft candlelight, Mom's blue china gleaming like a memory of better days. My parents laughed with Rachel and James, our oldest friends, their voices warm against the clink of wine glasses. William Carter, Michael's brother and a private investigator, leaned back, his sharp eyes catching mine. I'd told them I wanted to share stories from my South America trip, but my real story was a reckoning. My chest ached with the weight of what I'd lost: Michael, my partner; Emily, my sister. I saw us 3 years ago, road tripping to Lake Michigan, singing off-key to Springsteen. That memory burned now, a wound I couldn't close. Michael and Emily arrived at 7:15, all charm, unaware of the trap. Michael, in his crisp blazer, squeezed my shoulder. "You outdid yourself, babe," he said, eyeing the lasagna I'd barely tasted. Emily, in a red silk dress, flashed a smile. "This is perfect, Sarah. Like old times." "Sit," I said, my voice steady, hiding the storm inside. "We've got a lot to catch up on." I poured wine, my hands calm despite the fire in my veins. Mid-dinner, I stood, tapping my glass. "I have a surprise," I said, smiling tightly. I connected my laptop to the TV and pressed play. Michael's email to Emily filled the screen: "Portland's waiting, our new life." Mom gasped, her hand flying to her chest. Rachel's fork froze. Then came the photos: their kiss at the cafe, their embrace in the SUV. I played a recording, Emily's voice venomous. I fed her source bad info. Her story tanked. Michael's cold reply followed: a stress illness would get her out of the way. We'd move the money faster. Dad's face turned to stone. "What is this, Sarah?" he demanded, voice low. "There's more," I said, clicking to a new recording. Michael's voice: "We'll use the gala to charm the clients, cover the Portland transfer." My heart twisted. They'd planned to exploit our company's charity event, one I'd poured my soul into. Then, a video of them kissing in a hotel lobby, charged to Rivers Marketing. James whispered, "Jesus." William's fist clenched. I wasn't done. I showed a text Emily sent Mom months ago, pretending to worry about my overwork, laying groundwork for their fake illness scheme. Mom's eyes welled up. "Emily, how could you?" she choked. I played Emily's final blow, her smug voice to a colleague: "Taking Michael was easy. Sarah's not all she thinks." Michael lurched to his feet, pale. "Sarah, you're twisting this," he said, voice shaking. "You were always gone, chasing stories. I was lonely. You pushed me away." I laughed, sharp and bitter. "Lonely? I gave up a Pulitzer pitch to stay here and build rivers with you." The room went silent. I'd never told anyone I'd turned down that dream for him. Rachel's hand covered her mouth. Dad's jaw dropped. Emily sobbed, "Sarah, I was jealous, okay? I didn't mean it." Her voice cracked, but I wasn't moved. "Jealous?" I said, stepping closer. "You stole my husband, my work, my name." I turned to the screen, showing emails about their $200,000 theft from Rivers. "I sent this to our clients today. They're done with you, Michael. And Emily, Chalkboard Design suspended you this afternoon for misusing their resources. They're investigating now." Michael grabbed the table, eyes wild. "Sarah, we can talk this out." "Don't do this." "No," I said, my voice ice. "I'm divorcing you. I'm keeping 80% of Rivers and the condo. Your Portland fantasy is dead." William stood, his gaze hard. "You heard her, Mike." Emily tried to speak, but Mom cut her off, voice raw. "Leave, Emily. You've broken us." Dad nodded, tears in his eyes. Rachel hugged me, whispering, "You're so strong." James just stared, stunned. They left, Michael's steps heavy, Emily's sobs echoing down the hall. The door slammed, and the room felt empty, heavy with grief. I sank into a chair, my hands shaking as the adrenaline ebbed. I'd won, but at what cost? I saw Emily smile from that Lake Michigan trip, Michael's arm around me. They were my family, my home. Now they were ghosts, and I was left with a victory that tasted like ash. I looked at Mom, her face crumpled, and felt my heart crack. Revenge doesn't rebuild what's lost, it just clears the rubble. I'd exposed their lies, but I'd lost the people I loved most. Still, I stood taller, knowing I'd fought for myself. If this hits home, share your thoughts below. What's the toughest stand you've ever taken? The silence in my Lincoln Park condo lingered like a bruise, heavy and raw after Michael and Emily's exit. The candles on the dining table flickered, casting shadows on Mom's blue china, now cold with untouched lasagna. I'm Sarah Thompson, a journalist who'd just exposed the people I loved most, my husband and my sister, in front of everyone who mattered. The victory was mine, but it felt hollow, like winning a race only to find the finish line led nowhere. My heart churned, torn between righteous anger and a grief I couldn't name. Mom sat across from me, her eyes red, staring at her clasped hands. "Sarah, I'm so sorry," she whispered, her voice fragile. "I raised her better than this." Dad, usually stoic, rubbed her back, his jaw tight. Rachel and James cleared the plates in silence, their glances soft with pity. William, Michael's brother, stayed by the window, his broad shoulders tense. "You did what you had to," he said, his voice low but firm. Mike made his bed. I nodded, my throat tight. "I know. But it doesn't feel good." The truth had gutted us all. I saw Emily's tear-streaked face as she left, Michael's defeated slump. They were villains, yes, but they'd been my family. I remembered our last Thanksgiving, laughing over pumpkin pie, Emily teasing me about my burnt rolls. That warmth was gone, replaced by a void I didn't know how to fill. The next week was a blur of fallout. Jessica Bennett, our key client, called me at the office, her voice crisp over the phone. "Sarah, we're sticking with you," she said. "Your work's always been the backbone of Rivers." Michael's out. Other clients followed, their emails flooding my inbox, pledging loyalty. Michael's name was poison now. The evidence I'd sent, those emails about the $200,000 Portland transfer, had spread like wildfire. By Friday, he was facing a lawsuit for financial fraud, his reputation in tatters. I heard he'd moved into a cheap apartment in Logan Square, scraping by on freelance gigs that barely paid rent. Emily's world collapsed faster. Chalkboard Design fired her after their investigation confirmed she'd used company resources to plan her affair, including late-night calls on their dime. I got a text from Laura Peterson, her boss. "Sarah, I'm sorry you went through this. She's done here." Emily moved back to our parents' Evanston home, but Mom's texts to me were curt, distant. "She's struggling," Mom wrote. "Can you talk to her?" I stared at the message, my thumb hovering over the reply button. I remembered Emily at 16, crying when I left for college, promising we'd always be close. That girl felt like a stranger now. I didn't respond. William called me one evening, his voice steady. "Found more on that Portland account," he said. "Mike tried to move another $50,000 last month, but the bank flagged it. It's all in the audit now." I thanked him, my voice hollow. His evidence sealed Michael's fate, but it didn't ease the ache. I was winning, but each win carved out another piece of me. I met Rachel for coffee at a cozy Wrigleyville cafe, its walls lined with Cubs memorabilia. She reached across the table, squeezing my hand. "You're holding up better than I would," she said, her eyes warm. "But are you okay?" "Really?" I stirred my latte, the foam swirling. "I don't know," I admitted. "I got justice, but it's like I lost my compass. They were my North Star." My voice cracked, and I looked away, embarrassed. Rachel didn't push, just sat with me, her presence a quiet anchor. The weeks stretched on, and Michael and Emily's relationship unraveled. I heard through a mutual friend they'd fought publicly at a Luke bar, screaming over who'd ruined who. By spring, they'd split, Emily blaming Michael for dragging her down, Michael accusing her of pushing him too far. Their dream of Portland was dust, and I felt a grim satisfaction, but it was fleeting. Revenge doesn't warm you at night, it just keeps the cold at bay. One evening, Mom showed up at my condo, her eyes tired. "Sarah, Emily's a mess," she said, standing in my kitchen, her coat still on. "She knows she was wrong. Can't you give her a chance?" I leaned against the counter, my arms crossed. She broke us, Mom. She broke me. My voice trembled, and I hated it. I gave up a Pulitzer pitch for Michael, stayed here to build rivers. Emily knew that. She still chose to hurt me. Mom's face crumpled. I know, honey. But she's still your sister. She reached for me, but I stepped back, shaking my head. Not anymore, I said, the words heavy. Mom left, her footsteps echoing in the hall. I sank onto the couch, staring at the spot where I'd hidden the recorder. I'd won the battle, but the war was with myself. Could I forgive? Did I even want to? I thought of Dad's old advice, family's worth fighting for. But what if the fight leaves you empty? I started spending evenings at a local bookstore, flipping through self-help titles, searching for answers. One night, I stumbled across a flyer for a betrayal support group at a community center in Lakeview. I hesitated, then jotted down the address. Maybe I wasn't alone in this. Maybe others knew this ache, this mix of triumph and loss. I wasn't ready to forgive, but I was ready to heal, to find a way forward that wasn't defined by their lies. The Chicago skyline sparkled outside my window, its lights a quiet promise. Healing isn't about forgetting, it's about choosing to carry the scars with grace. I'd lost my family, but I was finding my strength, one shaky step at a time. If this story's stirring something in you, share your thoughts below. What's the hardest loss you've had to carry? The door slammed shut on Michael and Emily, its echo louder than the pulse hammering in my chest. 8 months had passed since that night in our old living room, where I stood, trembling, as my laptop lit up with their betrayal, photos, texts, recordings. I'd won, in a way. Rivers Marketing was reborn as Thompson Marketing, my name on every contract, every business card. But victory? It tasted like ash when I lay awake in my new Chicago apartment, the silence asking questions I couldn't answer. How do you rebuild when the people you loved most carved holes in your heart? I leaned against the window of my one-bedroom in Lincoln Park, watching snow dust the streetlights. It was December 2025, and Chicago buzzed with holiday cheer, Christmas lights twinkled, couples shared hot cocoa at the cafe across the street. I'd sold the house Michael and I built, trading it for this small space where every corner was mine. No traces of his cologne or Emily's perfume lingered. Yet, as I sipped my coffee, their betrayal clung like damp cold. I'd see a couple laughing, and my mind would flash to that parking lot, their smiles mocking me through the car window. Rebuilding wasn't just signing divorce papers or renaming the company. It was unpacking boxes and finding a photo from Navy Pier, Michael's arm around me, Emily grinning behind us. I tossed it, muttering, never again. But the memory burned. How had I missed it? A year ago, I was chasing truth in South America, believing my husband waited for me. Now, I was learning to trust myself. Thompson Marketing was thriving, 3 new contracts, thanks to Jessica Bennett's loyalty and my knack for pitching under pressure. Last week, I stood in a sleek loop boardroom, pitching to a tech startup. We trust you, Sarah, their CEO said, signing a $500,000 deal. I smiled, but inside, I wondered, could I trust anyone again? I found answers in unexpected places. Every Wednesday, I joined a support group near Lake Michigan. The first time, I sat in the back, arms crossed, thinking I didn't belong. There was Tom, a retired cop whose wife left with his partner, Lisa, a mom of 2, betrayed by her high school sweetheart. I shared my story, the email, the confrontation, Emily's gloating voice. The room went quiet. You took your company back, Tom said, his voice gravelly with respect. That's not just surviving. That's fighting. Lisa reached for my hand. You're not alone, she whispered. Their story stitched something broken in me. Betrayal wasn't my fault, and it didn't have to define me. Writing became ascending triangle saved my life. I poured my pain into an anonymous article for a national magazine, The Cost of Trust. It went viral last spring, with readers emailing about their own betrayals. One wrote, "Your story gave me courage to leave." I cried, not for me, but for her. My words, born from sleepless nights, were helping others. It felt like redemption, like I was clawing back meaning from the wreckage. Michael and Emily unraveled. William sent me a bank statement showing Michael's attempt to funnel another $50,000 to a secret Portland account. Fraud charges killed his credibility, clients fled. He's selling used cars in Seattle now, in a rundown apartment. Emily's design firm fired her after Laura's investigation. She's back with our parents, hating nursing school. Mom called once, pleading, "She's your sister, Sarah." My throat tightened. "She stopped being my sister when she chose him," I said, hanging up. Forgiveness might come, but not yet. They split 8 months later. Rachel, who cried that night, said Michael blamed Emily, she called him spineless. Two vipers turning on each other. I felt nothing, just hollow relief. Dating again was tough. Mark, a kind-eyed architect, took me to a Cubs game. We laughed over hot dogs, and his hand brushed mine. I didn't flinch, but I wasn't ready. Healing's messy, like Chicago traffic in a snowstorm. You move, stall, move again. I thought about that email, "I can't wait to start a new life with you in Portland." It shattered me, but it freed me. Thompson Marketing, my article, "This apartment, they're mine." Last night, I found an old journal entry from 3 years ago, Michael and I planning our future over pizza. I smiled, not for him, but for the woman I was becoming. Revenge isn't justice. Justice is reclaiming yourself. An email from the support group invited me to speak. Your story inspires us, it read. I smiled. Maybe that's the point, not just surviving, but showing others they can. Betrayal cuts deep, but it doesn't define you. Betrayal leaves scars, but it's in rebuilding that we find our strength, like Chicago's skyline rising after a storm. My journey showed me that trust, once broken, can lead to a stronger you. What's helped you heal from life's toughest moments? Share below, and subscribe to explore more stories of resilience together. Hit the bell to stay connected.